Sicha 1. Today we're going to talk about the concept of unity, what it meant for the Jewish people when they were preparing for Har Sinai, receiving the Torah, and what it means to us in affecting the nations of the world. We find a big emphasis on the idea of unity, whether it's on a global level, you have the United Nations, or when it comes to demographics, you have the United States of America, or across the ocean, the European Union, or the UAE, and so on. So today we're going to discuss what unity means, what's real unity, and what's an artificial unity. On the pasuk of Yisro, Neged Har, which describes the Jewish people preparing for receiving the Torah, Rashi quotes the first three words, Vayichan Sham Yisrael, and he states that it means Ish Echad B'Lev Echad, as one people with one heart. Rashi deviates from the Mechilta, which the Mechilta takes this pasuk and adds the words Neged Har and explains that the Jewish people, in preparing for receiving of the Torah, they came together with solely one heart, taking out the Ki Ish Echad. Also, in differentiating between the other encampments that the Yidden did, Mechilta says the other ones were with arguments, and Rashi says that the other ones were with arguments and conflicts. So we find that the Torah will switch when describing something that occurred from the plural to the singular, and usually it will surround a circumstance that was something that was objective or subjective. When it comes to an objective experience, like seeing something, the Torah will use the singular as people are seeing one thing, but when it comes to feelings, the Torah will use the plural as everyone is feeling it on a different level. So we find in last week's parasha, when the Mitzrayim, they were chasing the Yidden, the Mitzrayim were a nation, and it says in the singular, Ephraim, they were following the Yidden. So Rashi points out on the singular term of Ephraim, explaining that the Mitzrayim, they came together in a way of one heart, as one people. The reverse, the reverse to what the Yidden experienced when they were receiving the Torah. So it's brought down that the reason for Rashi saying that the Mitzrayim, they experienced it in one heart and as one people, was because the Torah was describing the multitude of people chasing after the Yidden, and then it switched to the singular. And that's the novelty that the Torah is bringing out, that the Mitzrayim, they were able to unite around one common factor, and that was their hatred for the Yidden, and therefore they experienced this oneness, but it came from an emotional level. As the saying goes, that your enemy's enemy will be your friend, as you are surrounding around the common cause that's beneficial to both of you. So when it came to the Mitzrayim, they had a oneness, but it came from surrounding themselves together in a way of a complete hatred for the Yidden, and it was a unity on an emotional level, which was artificial. When it came to the Yidden, on the other hand, Rashi says that it was Ki Echad B'Lev Echad, and what that means is the Yidden, after preparing for receiving of the Torah and traveling, which the Torah described in the same pasuk as the Yidden, they came to rest earlier on in a plural term, then the Torah says when it comes to the preparing, Vayichan Sham Yisrael, that the Yidden, they encamped in front of the mountain in a singular term, because the Yidden, Rashi is saying, that they came to a deep appreciation after traveling and after preparing for Matan Torah, that they're truly one, Ki Ish Echad, and that resulted in the B'Lev Echad, that they felt one in their preparations for the giving of the Torah. That means Moshe Rabbeinu, and going through all the different levels of Yidden, they all felt that same oneness because they came to this deep appreciation from the innermost part of their neshama that resulted in them feeling this oneness. And that's why Rashi says, Ki Ish Echad B'Lev Echad. According to the Mechilta, it wasn't about the Yidden realizing that they're truly one, Ki Ish Echad, that resulted in them feeling one, but it came about from the Yidden coming close to the mountain. That's why the Mechilta brings Neged Har. In preparation for Har Sinai, standing in front of the mountain, they felt this B'Lev Echad. But throughout the rest of the times, it was b'machlekes. Every Yid had his own way of serving Hashem, and there was division in the sense of each one served Hashem according to his capabilities and his innate nature. According to Rashi, the Yidden, they experienced this deep level of oneness as a result of who they truly are, and therefore it resulted in them preparing for the giving of the Torah in every aspect as one. The lesson for us is, when it comes to affecting the world, we know the world is a place of multiplicity, division, where sometimes we don't see the common theme that's connecting every single thing that's occurring. So Yidden have the ability, together with Torah, which precedes the world, to affect the world in a way of making it from a Rishus Harabim into a Rishus Yachid, a place where Hashem feels at home, and a place where the world is recognized as being representative of the oneness of Hashem in a true way. Now, according to the Mechilta, the Yidden, they had this ability to be one, by standing in front of the mountain, even though the Torah wasn't given yet, nevertheless, it had an effect in advance that the Yidden had this ability to be one and to serve Hashem all together on the same level and start affecting the world. According to Rashi, it's beyond the Torah being given, but it has to do with the Yid's innate nature to affect the world, being a part of Hashem, being connected with Hashem at all times, and being connected with all fellow Yidden. We have this ability, even regardless of the Torah being given yet, to accomplish. And so much more so after the Torah was given, because we know that after the Torah was given, the divide that existed pre-Matan Torah between the higher worlds and the lower worlds, which means that before Matan Torah, a Yid wasn't able to infuse the physical with the spiritual. But after Matan Torah, a Yid has the ability to make the physical holy. So the Yidden have this innately from being a part of Hashem. And when it comes to after Matan Torah, we have to recognize that we have this ability to bring the oneness into the world, and starting from the inanimate all the way to the highest levels that Hashem created in the world, solely to bring out how it's truly one with Hashem. And specifically when it comes to affecting the nations of the world, we have to do our part to share with them the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach that they were commanded to follow. And they were commanded to follow it not only because it makes sense or because Adam, Rishon, and Noach were commanded to, but solely because Hashem commanded in the Torah that they should follow the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. And through doing this, they bring oneness into the world. And collectively, we all bring oneness into the world, which will bring the time of Mashiach sooner. May it happen speedily. Thank you.